Look at us making stuff happen. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for stopping by for the Thursday edition of the Movies Are Terrible live stream podcast. Just really rolls off the tongue there, doesn't it? Maybe we'll come up with a name. If you guys have a suggestion for a name for the podcast, leave that shit in the live chat, or if you see it afterwards, make sure that you leave it down in the comments section. I still haven't actually switched over on the screen yet. There we go. There we go.
So it was a little bit delayed. So do we at least have audio, or did people just hear you hyping to nothing?
Let's see. Guys, let us know if we have audio and that everything's running smoothly in the chat. Let us know. Looks like so far so good. Got some familiar faces in there. Smiley, King of the Hills 34. I know our friend Mark McKeever, friend and moderator, is here in the chat. Also, Atlas Guitar. What's up, dude? Patrick Stewart. Prime out of Nexus, Mr. Graham Crackers, Alexis Garcia Esquivo, Billy Bo, and more. Podcasts are terrible. I love it, King of the Hills 34. So this time we've actually come in with a plan. Suns out, guns out. Yeah, that's right, Patrick.
Instead of just winging it like we always do.
Correct. We've got some actually really exciting topics. I was going through YouTube earlier today and I saw John Campea, one of my favorite kind of movie talker guys, and he was like, if I have a show, then, or if I can't put together a show, I don't feel like I should make you guys listen to it anyways, and there's not any good news or anything important to talk about. And I'm assuming this must have been before the whole shit about The Rock and Robert Pattinson came out, because that's kind of crazy, dude. So for those of you that don't know, we got some major celebrity COVID-19 cases today, and I actually haven't looked into the story, but me and Caleb were just kind of talking about seeing the headlines ahead of time. So, Caleb, you heard that The Rock had it.
Yeah, that was all I heard. I just briefly saw a headline that he tested positive.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? How you doing, man? I guess I could have introduced you at the top, but people already know at this point, I feel like.
If they don't, they'll figure it out. My name's Caleb. That's the whole intro.
Well, so yeah, same situation. I saw that The Rock had it originally, and then I saw, oh wow, The Rock's whole entire family has it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know The Rock had a family. I saw some pictures of his wife and stuff for the first time. I was like, wow, this is a whole side of him I've never seen before.
Doesn't he have a daughter? That's the only thing I think I heard before.
He has a little daughter. I think he has at least one daughter. He might have two daughters. His wife kind of looks like that Italian lady that cooks on Food Network, Giada.
I thought you were just going like to super racial stereotype. She just looks like some Italian lady, and they cook.
Looks like she can whip up a mean pasta. So it's crazy though. Let's see. Let me pull this up. This is according to ESPN, which is where I get all my news. Thus the muscle shirt, guys. Just wanted to show you guys that I got tattoos. It's fucking hot in here with all these lights on, y'all. You have no idea. So Dwayne,
it is hot in here too.
The Rock Johnson, wife, daughters, COVID-19 positive, according to according to Dwayne Johnson, is what I'm trying to say. He posted on social media on Wednesday and talked about how his family contracted COVID-19 and battled the virus over the course of the past 3 days. I'm going to let you take a guess, Caleb. Did they survive it?
Yeah, I think they're going to. They all look in pretty good health.
That's the thing, man. You can't look at somebody like The Rock and be like, well, I mean, if The Rock was fine, because clearly we're not all The Rock.
It's like when the people were using the UFC fighters. All these UFC fighters have got it. I'm like, they're UFC fighters.
Yeah.
These dudes are in incredible shape, and they work out 10 hours a day.
Yeah, you try getting rocked in the face by like Brendan Schwab one time and see if it's the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I walked to grab my mail and I'm winded. we're in different worlds.
Yeah, dude, for sure. All four are currently in recovery. Okay, this is a quote according to The Rock. He says, "We as a family are good. We are on the other end of it. We're on the other side. We're no longer contagious, and thank God, we are healthy. We've gotten through COVID-19 stronger and healthier. Believe me, I am counting my blessings." 48 years old? Good Lord, man.
God, man, that's insane.
How?
Good on him.
That's crazy. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can't even believe that he's 48 years old. Only in Hollywood can you be 48 years old and have 6-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
how
I
does that
know.
even happen?
I don't know. I'm getting close there. Yeah, I just had my daughter, so I'm not going to be too far off.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So it does kind of show though, like it can potentially affect anyone. It can potentially affect people from the highest castes of society all the way down to the poor, the impoverished, and obviously when you have celebrity and you have resources and you have access, you can get the best treatment in the world, where there are lots of people out there that aren't Dwayne The Rock Johnson, that don't have access to the same kind of medical help and all of that kind of stuff. So it is a very serious thing. And in a way, it's kind of cool to be able to put a face with the illness, because a lot of people are like, I haven't met anybody that's been sick. But on the other hand, it might potentially skew the perspective when it is these, athletes and these like Herculean fucking athletes. And I feel like you see them and you're like, oh, they're fine. I'll be fine. Do you feel like it does more harm or good to see your Tom Hanks, your Dwayne The Rock Johnsons, and your Robert Pattinsons?
I mean, I think for people with a brain, it does nothing because they're just people. You look at it, but we also got to be realistic. And I think we talked about this. Seems like a lifetime ago on our other podcast, but the most people are at some point going to get this, and most people are going to survive. So I feel like it probably just creates a realistic thing, but there are those people who will use this as an example of, oh, see, it's no big deal. It's, The Rock got it, and he's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, wow.
but
I didn't realize this, but one of our friends, Patrick Stewart, actually says that me and my family and everyone at work all had COVID a few months back, all still here. It's
Good.
fantastic to hear. Yeah, absolutely. We have, and Caleb's wife works in healthcare, we have heard stories the other way. So
Yep.
far be it from
absolutely.
either of us to sound like we're minimalizing this. It's just when you look at, there's an inherent risk involved in everything. Go ahead.
I personally know someone who passed from it.
Were they
So
someone our demographic? Were they younger, older?
60, in
60?
their 60s. Yeah. So my parents' age.
Family friend? Coworker? What's the deal?
Yeah, coworker.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I haven't quite had it hit as close to home yet. I've got friends of friends that have had it. I've got healthcare workers such as yourself and my friends Matt and Jenna who work in the COVID ward, so they are surrounded by it. They see the kind of stuff a lot more than I do. And I think you did touch on something that's valid, and that is it's potentially going to affect a whole lot of people eventually, and either by then, hopefully we have some sort of vaccine or some sort of antibodies built up that we can stave it off and kind of treat it more like the common cold or the common flu, a lot of the things that people want to, kind of attribute it to.
I feel like the whole goal, not to get like too much into this stuff, but the whole goal of this was to flatten the curve, just not to overwhelm our healthcare system. I feel people who are realistic know that most people are going to get this. We just didn't want everyone to get it at once.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that very measured, pragmatic information gets drowned out by loud fucking idiots on both sides.
Yeah, this is why our other podcast didn't do well, because we weren't so hyperbolic.
It's a good point. Yeah, maybe we need to just come hard with our opinions. Fuck Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
How about this? We also pick a side, and then you and me flip-flop every episode. So like I'll take a super right wing and you take super left, and then we switch every week just to really mess with people.
Oh God, I'm sure that would be great. So it's funny because Robert Pattinson is not the kind of Oh no. What just happened there?
What just happened with what? I don't know what's going on.
I had a separate window open, and I don't know if it showed up on the
I have no idea.
On the stream or not. I guess we'll see how that goes.
Was it your Pornhub screen?
No. Just give it 30 seconds, bro. It'll come through. Oh, fuck. I totally lost my train of thought. Okay, so when you look at Robert Pattinson, he is not the same kind of I guess epitome of physical health and stature as somebody like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. In fact, when he got interviewed by that magazine a couple months ago, they were kind of like, are you getting jacked for the role of Batman? And he's like, nah, I'm not really doing anything, just kind of hanging out, eating bad and stuff, which is hilarious. I got a big kick out of it, but it's not what you typically think of. So when you look at Robert Pattinson and you see that this dude who is playing Batman, who just now came back to a set after it being shut down, only to be shut down again, does that say something to you about movie sets or England or anything like that?
Well, I think that's just going to be the new reality for a long time. I don't know. We're seeing all this like in video games. At least you can do like remotely to make that, but like movies and stuff, it requires being on set. It requires being on location, being around a ton of people. I don't know how realistic that is long term.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we just now saw this promo footage of Tom Cruise going to see Tenet like last week, saying, "Oh, it's all good to go back to the movie theaters." Robert Pattinson is one of the stars of Tenet, so he was obviously out doing press junkets, all of those kind of things. That interview that he did with Vanity Fair was months ago now, so it's not as current. But you have to figure, because what I always heard is that it was such a like a closed ecosystem that they like flew you in from remote places, cut you off from contact from anybody from the outside. But you'd have to imagine, like, when you're a certain level of celebrity, what are they gonna do, right?
Yeah, like no, it's. I mean, this isn't going to be the first. Might be the first, but this is not going to be the last movie that gets canceled because of COVID after it reopens. It's going to happen numerous times. It might happen 3 or 4 times with this movie alone.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see it happening because I feel like everybody wants to see a definitive end. Like, okay,
Yeah,
things are going to get back to normal, but that's going to be phases and phases. Like you said, it's going to be like, oh, things are creeping towards normal. Oh, now things are shit again, and then kind of back and forth.
yeah, I think that's a realistic thing. I've been saying it since the outside of this. This is our new normal for a while. Sucks. I hate it. I work from home. It's miserable. I hate being in my house 24/7. It's awful, but right now it is our new normal, unfortunately.
It's so crazy. Oh, wow. I just now opened up a new window, and that Raised by Wolves trailer is on there, and that shit looks badass. And
It looks incredible.
in addition to it looking awesome and it being what you were just talking to me about before we started recording, that's the episode of that video that I saw being broke down that I thought looked so cool. So we were
Really?
both
'Cause I think
talking
it
about the
premiered
same
today or
thing.
something, or soon it premieres. One of the two.
You know how it is, man. Those Hollywood types get their screeners. No, Tenet was not canceled. No. Sorry, King of the Hills, if we misled. Robert Pattinson is in Tenet. It was actually released in theaters.
And then Batman was canceled. Not canceled. Postponed.
Postponed, correct. So right now I'm on The Verge. Actually, I can bring this up for you guys and let you guys see what we're checking out here. I'm trying to figure out all of the OBS stuff, so you guys might have to be patient with me just a little bit as I figure all of these things out. But I think I'm just not going to mess with it for right now. I think within the next couple weeks I'll be able to get it all figured out. So anyways, I'm looking at The Verge. Caleb, man. Just be easy on me, bro. This is my first time.
What,
Right.
what am I?
You're laughing at me because I
No,
fucking...
I'm not laughing at you.
You're laughing at me because I tried to bring up the...
What the hell you're talking about. I was literally waiting for you to tell me about the article of The Verge. That's what I was doing.
I'm still stuck on that fucking window popping up, dude. I am so red right now.
What is the window?
Oh, man. It didn't come up. Apparently, it didn't come up.
Okay.
So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm very disappointed.
Oh, bro, I'm so red right now. Okay, so we're on The Verge. And
Was it adult related, this window?
no, it was, in a way it was worse. We'll talk later.
Okay. I need to know.
Production of Warner Brothers' The Batman has been delayed yet again, this time because star Robert Pattinson has tested positive for COVID-19, Vanity Fair reported. The highly anticipated retelling of the story of the Caped Crusader with the Twilight star in the title role had just resumed shooting a few days ago in London. So they opened the set back up, they started testing people, and immediately the star of the movie ends up having COVID. If you're Colin Farrell, are you pissed?
I don't think anyone has a right to be pissed. Do
Yeah,
you think?
I no, well, no, you definitely don't have the right to be, but like, I don't know the situation. I don't know what their contracts are. It's also very possible that Colin Farrell wasn't even around the set at that time. But I would just be like, dude, we're trying to get this thing done. Why aren't you? I guess it's impossible to completely isolate from other people.
It's just one of those things too. Like this could be one of those damned movies that we're talking about years from now, like New Mutants.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
this really
that's
could be.
crazy. Oh, wow, that would be some shit, man. Because so much, I believe, so much of the residual resentment towards New Mutants was simply due to the fact that the fucking thing started shooting in 2017. Eventually, it's just going to get a bad reputation.
That was me. I was just over it by the time it came out, and I was all on board for that. And so I think the Batman might.
Wow.
I hope I'm wrong. Might be one of these films.
That's really interesting, man. I hope that that's not the direction that we go, and I've actually never humored it until just now. But this is the same studio that is still trying to bring us Flashpoint after all, so
Yeah,
all bets are off.
That apparently they're bringing back Ben Affleck for now.
Yeah, right, and Keaton.
And Keaton, and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Is it cool to you?
I am so over it at this point, and I was like the biggest Batfleck guy. Like I was so, you know me. I was like, I love BVS.
Yeah.
I thought Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman, and they've even gotten to a point where I'm just like, I don't care. You've ruined it. I just don't care anymore.
No shit. That's too bad. Chief Supreme, what's up, man? I see you in here. I did want to let you know that we touched a little bit on one of your theories on the last episode of Lovecraft Country, the breakdown that I did with Kevin. We talked a little bit about that theory that we won't mention here just because I'm sure a lot of people are just really counting down the days until they're able to watch Lovecraft Country. Doesn't seem like anybody gives a shit about that show except for the people that do, and we're in it, man. I'm really
was super pumped for it. It was one of the reasons I signed up for HBO Max, and then I canceled.
Oh, really? You canceled? You were the shepherd.
I was the dude. I was banging the drum for that more than anyone.
Yeah.
And I had a sweet deal. It was like $9 a month for the whole year. And I still was like, I just don't have time. So I finally just was like, why am I paying this? I'm not watching it.
Oh, wow. King of the Hills 34. Thank you forever for Matt Reeves to get started on the film. It could have been done before COVID, and that's actually a very good point. And in fact, and Caleb, you might remember this because we've been doing this for a minute now. Do you remember Ben Affleck was originally supposed to direct Batman?
Yep, I remember Ben Affleck was supposed to do it. Then Matt Reeves was supposed to do it starring Ben Affleck.
Correct. Yeah.
And then, this has already been one of those films.
That's so crazy. I've totally forgot about that. That at first Ben Affleck was going to write, star, direct in it, and everybody's like, The Town. And I was stoked about that. I thought that was going to be so fantastic.
Pumped,
who knows?
That's the Batman movie I personally want to see.
Yes. Yeah, 100%, man. I still feel like Matt Reeves can do that because I think you and I are both, or I can't speak for you, but I'm a huge Apes trilogy fan.
Dude, love it. One of my favorite. So Apes in general is probably my favorite sci-fi franchise, all of them combined. And those remakes are incredible.
So good. So good. And I actually am a big fan of Cloverfield as well. Matt Reeves hasn't done anything yet
Cloverfield
that I didn't really like.
Yeah.
Oh, you like Cloverfield?
Great. Love Cloverfield.
Nice. Yeah.
Easily the best found footage movie.
Okay. I can dig it. It's definitely the most ambitious found footage movie.
It was the first one that I watched that I had an emotional reaction to at the end. That I'm like, oh, you actually got to me and told me a story that I cared enough about.
Yeah.
Through found footage.
Yeah, that's a good point. You at least got some relatively decent characters in it as opposed to many found footage movies, in particular the Blair Witch Project, where you just want everybody to fucking die, like sooner than later.
Or you just want the movie to end.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, we're going to talk here in just a minute. We'll go ahead and move on. We got a lot of stuff to get to. All right, next thing, and this is something you brought to my attention, man. I don't know if you have anything open about it. I can pull up a link. I'm talking about the animated XFiles series.
So, yeah, they are doing a new show called XFiles Albuquerque, which this is part of the reason I brought it up because that's where I'm originally from. It's a adult animation comedy spin-off of the X-Files.
And it's like the B unit. It's like the crime or the cases that aren't serious enough or big enough for Scully and Mulder.
Which is funny because they have already kind of done this in a live action form.
With
the spin-off X-Files show.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, so it's the guys who did all the conspiracy theories. What the heck was the name of this X-Files spin-off? It was a lot more The Lone Gunman was a lot more comedy.
Oh wow.
You know?
I had no
idea.
And then
Millennium was also a spin-off of it. So this is the third spin-off.
I didn't even realize those other ones existed, but it had us talking before we started recording about Star Trek and how they've done so many different spin-off series. Obviously, there's the main live-action timeline, but then recently there was the Lower Decks Star Trek series, and that's separate from the Orville and separate from Space Force, which is like a TV series that's now on. Anyways, with Star Trek, it's a lot of more of the same. What do you think about taking something that was fundamentally, for the most part, very serious in tone? And there were definitely standalone episodes and little one-offs that were fucking bizarre and quirky and all that. But for the most part, it was a relatively serious show. What do you think about trying to transpose the tones? And are people going to give a shit about X-Files?
I mean, for me, I dig it as an X-Files fan, and I love just like comedy animation. Like,
yeah,
I just adore it. I can eat that stuff up. I'm really excited about it. I don't know if it's necessarily for the die-hard fans though. Like, I like X-Files, but I'm not like a die-hard X-Files fan, because as someone who is die-hard about certain things, and then when I see him go comedy, it really rubs me the wrong way when the source material isn't. So I can understand diehard fans not being happy about this. For me as a casual fan, I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I definitely grew up on X-Files. I was probably in 5th grade when the first season started, and it was on Friday nights. And let's be real, in 5th grade, I didn't have a whole lot going on Friday nights, so this was something that I look forward to. I also grew up, you were in New Mexico, I was in Gulf Breeze, Florida. We were in 2 of the biggest UFO hotspots in the entire world. Gulf Breeze, Florida was second to a place in Germany for having the most. And then obviously, as somebody mentioned in the chat, Roswell in New Mexico. So that's another funny reason why to kind of focus the show there. But so this whole skywatching phenomenon was fucking huge. There was a guy named Ed, I think his name was Ed Baker. I might be saying that wrong. That kind of sounds like a preacher's name too. But there was this guy in Gulf Breeze who had captured like a dozen photographs of flying saucers landing on Highway 98, all this shit. I don't know if I've ever told you about this, have I?
No, I think we probably have, because we've talked about aliens way more than I care to admit.
Bro, that's actually a good point. I had to have told you about it. I don't know if you remember, but after he moved out of the house he owned and sold books and went on Oprah, became a national phenomenon, they found the model of the UFO up in his attic.
What a shocker.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You mean they weren't landing on the side of the road and he was the only person that saw them?
Now... No, yeah. That's always what cracks me up. It's like it's in the sky. No one sees it.
Yeah.
But it's some random person. I know I told you before about this time I actually went down to Roswell. I don't think I told you the reason why. Is because I was binge watching X-Files. I bought them all on DVD and binge watched the whole series. So me and my brother were like, hey, let's just drive to Roswell. It's a couple hours away.
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen. The Alien Museum is pathetic. It made me, like, I was one of those people who, and I still do, I'm like, there probably has to be something out there. Go to the Roswell Museum, it'll make you think we are the only thing on the planet. Because their evidence is a piece of foil. They're like, look at this alien metal. It's like, I've seen foil before. Like,
smoked weed out of it when I was a kid.
It's bad, dude.
That's hilarious. I had no. See, I always figured, though, you drive up to a big gate and it's the desert, and that's all you can see. I guess there's like a little roadside attraction where they've got the museum.
So it's a little town, and literally their streetlights are alien heads.
Oh, really?
And their Walmart has a giant flying saucer sticking out of it.
That's
like
Wow.
I mean, they're in the middle of nowhere. They got to get money somehow.
I think that whole phenomenon just isn't what it once was. I think the funniest thing about the timing of this X-Files show is that, like, the government is releasing footage of UFOs and people are like, nah, I don't give a fuck. Sorry. You missed me with that shit. I got more important divisive politics to discuss. Yeah. Forget about
so
life.
Like, my city's burning down. You think I care about them in the sky?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Prime says the McDonald's in Roswell is the best attraction.
It totally is.
That's amazing.
It totally is. I've eaten at that McDonald's.
I would still like to go just as like a bucket list thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that you are like,
it's a very, like, I'm happy. Have you ever gone to something and it was so disappointing and so campy and awful that you liked it more than had it been really good?
Yeah.
That was Roswell.
Yes.
I was like, this is just a shit show and I'm here for it.
So, okay, that's what our take are on that. I don't know that we even talked about the animated X-Files series, if I'm being honest.
About aliens.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's a win. Next topic, Resident Evil Netflix series. Supposedly it's going to be more based on the Capcom series and a little bit further separated from the wonderful Paul W.S. Anderson. What do you call it when there's 75 entries into a franchise? It's like a quadrilogy if there's 4.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those are. I've seen every one.
Have you?
Yeah, in theaters.
So is this a franchise that's something that you enjoy?
It's a franchise that is horrible that I love. Like, okay. I watch it the whole time going, this is really bad, but I love every second of it.
Do you feel the same way about Underworld?
So I never saw, I've only seen one Underworld. It was the last one in theaters.
Oh.
And I saw the first one when it came out and hated it. And then my brother was like, oh, he's a big fan of it. He's like, let's go to Underworld. So I went and saw the last one with him in theater. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And he left. And he's like, this was a really bad movie. And I'm like, did you see the other 45 of them? Like,
that's kind of, I don't know, man. I look at both of those franchises as essentially the same thing. And I don't 100%. Know if I should throw Kate Beckinsale onto the fire like that, because maybe it's not her husband that wrote them and directed all of them like it is with Mila Jovovich. Props to him for keeping her working, you know what I mean? And props to her for keeping him working. Like, I've seen a half of the Resident Evil movies. I actually liked the first one pretty good and watched it a handful of times. I like the Resident Evil video games. I think they've got great atmosphere and there's an opportunity to tell a really cool story there. But, dude, are we fucking burnt out on zombies yet?
I'm so burnt out on zombies, and I'm the biggest zombie guy. Like, one of my sleeves was almost a Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead zombie sleeve. I really got this close to doing it, and I'm burnt. I can't watch zombies on everything anymore.
What's the last zombie flick that you saw that you were like, that's really good, that's got something to say?
The Girl with All the Gifts.
I haven't seen that one yet. It's got Glenn Close in it.
Yeah, that one's incredible.
And that
was like the last one where I was like, this is amazing. This you did something I haven't seen.
That's not an old movie. That probably came out 3-4 years ago.
3 or 4, yeah. That was probably the last really good one.
I think we're kind of on the same page about Train to Busan. It was a good movie, but it didn't really change the game as far as zombie movies for me.
It was, yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh, actually, no. I do remember the last zombie movie. I watched it like last year, maybe beginning of this year. It was the animated spin-off by Train to Busan.
Soul Station.
The same director.
Is that right? Soul Station?
Soul Station. Yep.
And did you like that?
Soul Station is incredible.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And because the director of Train to Busan, he's an animation director. That's what he's always done. So Train to Busan was his departure. Soul Station was his return to it. And you're just like, oh, you're just better at animation.
I need to check it out then. The last one that I saw, and this is kind of a cheat, but I remember all the way back since The Walking Dead came out, just being like, aren't we over zombies yet? And then they'll throw another one out, and I'm like, wow, they really found an interesting direction to take this. There's still a way to tell an interesting zombie story and use it for some sort of allegorical purpose and make it fun or feel unique. And the last one that I saw is called One Cut of the Dead.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this.
It's amazing. It is so amazing. I don't even want to. If I tell the thing, it's going to ruin it for everybody. I don't see
It's a
anybody
Japanese,
watching
right?
it. Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It
that's
is,
what I thought.
and it's just a totally different take on the horror genre in general, but something that I've found really, really refreshing, and something that I would say was probably my favorite, at least top 3 favorite movies of 2019.
I need to check it out then.
Yeah, it's very
Tell you
good.
what, I'll check that out. You check out Soul Station.
No, I will for sure. That sounds like, I mean, we've got nothing but time to talk movies and stuff, but for right now, we're going to switch gears to the trailer for No Time to Die. First of all, where are you at on James Bond movies in the first place?
I've never liked a single one I've ever watched.
Have you seen any of the Craig ones?
Yeah, I saw the first one. That was the only one I saw.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Growing up, never cared for James Bond. Not my type of character, not my type of hero. Didn't like Roger Moore. Didn't really care for Pierce Brosnan. Sean Connery, you know, real sleazy when you go back and watch them these days. I mean, I got a kick out of it, but it's a different time, folks. Different time. But I fucking love the new guy, Daniel Craig. I think he's fantastic.
My wife's a big fan of just like 007 in general. So I went back. I mean, this was years ago. It was before I met her, 10 years, 12 years ago, you know? And I tried to watch them. So I watched like a couple from each era. And I was like, it just doesn't appeal to me. And then with the Daniel Craig one, I heard how great it was. And I watched it and I was like, oh, it's the Bourne movies. And I don't like the Bourne movies either. So I was like, oh, it's that same like vein. They're not bad. They're just not for me.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up the Bourne things because I was not a big Bourne fan either, which is kind of unusual. I shouldn't even say I'm not a Bourne fan. I liked what I saw of them, but I never really invested all that much into it. I didn't see them in the theaters. I saw them afterwards, and I do feel that these movies lose a lot by not seeing them on the big screen. I look at it's weird because I was never historically an action movie fan. That is not what I would say is my genre. That said, I fucking absolutely love the Mission Impossible franchise, and this trailer gave me more Mission Impossible vibes than what I was expecting out of it.
I heard the last Mission Impossible is really good. I didn't see that one, but I heard it was really good.
Have you seen any of the other ones?
Saw the first one.
Oh, way back in the day, the Brian De Palma one.
Oh, I mean the first one with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
That was the first one I saw because my dad loves all this. He loves Bourne, 007, Mission Impossible. He loves all of that. Anything like spy, espionage, he is all in. And so I've seen a lot of them, but they just never really spoke to my sensibilities. I kind of like you, not really an action fan, except for big caveat, mindless kung fu films I can watch
of course
day after day.
Yeah.
But with that, I'm not a big action fan besides that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's almost like the spy genre is like the dad genre. Like dads are gonna love some spy movies, espionage, all that kind of shit, or some John Grisham novels or some shit. For me, I didn't grow up on any of that stuff, but there was something about seeing Tom Cruise sell the stunts the way that he did that just like changed my perspective on it. Similar to the John Wick franchise, like, and then obviously it's got a lot of Hong Kong influence in it as well.
100%. There's a lot of like the action genre borrowed so much from HK cinema, you know, like it's yeah.
This is like a 2.5.
I think you're right. I never thought of it. It is the dad genre. You totally nailed it. I think it was like big during like our parents' age is like when that spy thing was really huge.
100%. Yeah.
I guess it's gonna be the genre for our generation that like our kids look at and go, oh my God.
Come on.
Superheroes?
Yeah. Come on, man.
That's what I think. Or do you think that's gonna transcend that because it's kind of kid based anyway?
That's a good question. How much shit are we gonna get for that in the comment section is what I'm curious about. It is the truth though. Just because like you buck what your parents love.
Yeah, because you buck what you. That's what I mean. Like that's part of the reason I probably don't like spy movies. Is because I just saw my dad watch. It's the same reason I'm not a big fan of westerns. My dad watched spy movies. My mom watched westerns. constantly. I've seen Tombstone 5,000 times.
One of my favorites is Tombstone. I fucking love that movie.
I honestly can't watch it. My mom will watch it sometimes 3 times in one day, like a psycho.
Oh wow. Oh yes.
Yeah.
King of the Hills 34. The last 2 Mission Impossibles are top tier. Totally agree. Mark says he's interested in seeing Rami Malek as the villain. I also really like that kind of China doll glass or porcelain mask that he wears in it. But bro, that first stunt, I don't know if you remember it, but they're on this like cobblestone bridge and he jumps and hides behind a little stone as that car tries to run him over and it hits the stone and it flips it. It's so sick, dude.
Is this the one that everyone was freaking out because there was the girl who's also an agent?
Yes.
The new 00. So this is it?
Yes. And they downplay the shit out of that in the trailer, don't they?
Yeah, because I literally was like, I think this is it. Because first of all, it definitely looks different than the freak out. I heard she was James Bond, which she's just another agent, so who cares?
Yeah.
But also too, like it is so like quick. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I really like one of the things that I like about it is that historically the female characters aren't they don't have a lot of agency, I guess, for lack of a better word. This one seems to really revolve around the 3 female characters a lot more, but it does seem way more like Léa Seydoux' movie, which I expected it to be way more Ana de Armas's movie.
Which everything should be Ana de Armas's movie.
Oh my goodness, dude. She's the femme fatale, this one, right? I mean, we know she's going to be the bad guy.
She's the femme fatale of the world, so I think she's going to be in this.
Yeah, she is definitely the most gorgeous person working. And did you know this is talk for another movie outlet or whatever, but she's dating Ben Affleck.
I know. I was like, this dude is Batman, and now he's dating Ana de Armas.
Damn, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I think
she's got all the drinking problems. He's a total winner.
Oh yeah, I like the way this trailer looks a lot. I don't know how much of the action is being performed by Daniel Craig. They really lean into a lot of those stunt set pieces. I like that shot where they're all scaling down the side of that building as the sun's going down. That's badass. I like that it's bringing back Christoph Waltz from the previous 2 films. But I don't know, man. They've all been the Mission Impossible movies and the James Bond movies. You just plug in another MacGuffin and it's the same story over and over again.
This honestly was one of those films. I feel like I said this 2 podcasts in a row where I said about Batman, where I watched the trailer and I go, if you told me that was an old trailer for a movie I already saw, I would say, yeah, I've already seen that. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. I don't feel like 007 is trying to be groundbreaking, or neither is Mission Impossible. I think they're just trying to be fun action films, and I'm okay with that. They're not for me, but I don't fault anyone for wanting to go and just have a fun time.
Yeah, it's sexy cars, badass locations, beautiful people, badass stunts. I'm here for it, man. I was not expecting for it to hit me the way that it did. As far as this looks like, probably going to be the best in the Daniel Craig franchise, because it does look like it's leaning the most heavily on what we saw in the last 2 Mission Impossible movies, which how the hell are the 6th and 7th and 8th movies in these franchises ending up being the best of all of them?
Dude, it's like how the Fury Road is like one of the best Mad Max movies. Like, how is that a thing?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, Patrick Stewart brings up a very good point. I think that's valid, Patrick. He said that the Fast and Furious movies are pretty much the exact same thing, where you're just plugging in new MacGuffins, same story over and over again.
By Fast and the Furious, so I've only seen the first 2 movies. Actually, no, I saw the Tokyo Drift one, too, because I remember the Hulk car, because I was very excited about that. But I just remember always the metal bucket with the blowtorch and the rat on someone's stomach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I guess is a thing that would technically work, but watching it in cinema, like being filmed, apparently, like I watched something where like, no, this really would. It would burrow into your skin, which is like, oh, that's terrifying. But watching it filmed is so comical.
Yeah. So, let us know your thoughts, guys. Are you excited about the new 007 movie? We're going to go ahead and switch out of movie news and talk a little bit First of all, before we even get to the book club part of it, let's start sounding off in the comment section or in the chat right now. Let us know if you actually decided to watch Moonwalkers. Caleb and I are going to spend a minute talking about that here in just a moment, so y'all let us know. We're going to give it a second. That way we know how deep to dive into it. In the meantime,
Yeah,
Caleb, what have you been watching, man? You seen anything good lately?
Yeah, so I was watching... I watched, well, of course, anime. I'm watching anime constantly, but I have been watching the third season of The Rain, which, in my opinion, is probably the best Netflix show. Maybe I think Dark Crystal edges it out for me, but The Rain is pretty much a zombie movie with no zombies. It's just well, it's a pandemic movie, which hits a lot different this third season.
Imagine so.
Yeah, because the first two, you're like, oh, this doesn't seem that real. And then by the third, you're like, quarantine zones and people walking around a mask doesn't seem that far-fetched.
Yeah.
And of course, it goes very sci-fi, and it's exaggerated version, but it is incredible. And this is the final season, which I'm happy to see, because sometimes people, I feel like Walking Dead is a perfect example. You can drag this out too long. Know when your show's over and end it. So I'm very excited that we're going to wrap up this show.
And it's season 4?
Season 3.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
6 episodes each season. You can literally binge the whole series.
In and out, man. I love it. That's how great stories need to be told.
Yeah.
So, I was up last night, and there's a movie that I've been meaning to check out for the last couple of months. I keep hearing about it. It's a new Nicolas Cage film. It's an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft. Let's see. If you're still in here, Chief Supreme, you might get a kick out of this. So it's called The Color Out of Space, and it's available on. It's directed by. I don't think I'm going to be able to think of his name. I would have to go pull it up. It doesn't matter that much, but he's the guy that directed The Island of Dr. Moreau, but he was actually kicked off 3 days into filming. He directed Hardware, which is a fucking crazy movie. And do you remember that? I
do remember Hardware, unless I'm thinking of something totally different. But anyway, go on.
And then he did one other movie, also very interesting. But okay, so the H.P. Lovecraft story, the original, is actually the inspiration behind Annihilation.
Okay.
So these whole thing,
good things.
Yeah, the whole idea of the purple aura extraterrestrial thing that comes in and reconfigures your DNA and the whole world, all it fucks with the fabric of time and space. It fundamentally changes the way that creatures' genetic structures are made up. It melds things together. It pulls things apart. And Nicolas Cage is fucking just bonkers in the entire movie. It's really good, but people were kind of talking about it and Mandy in the same sentence for obvious reasons. Nicolas Cage is in both of them. It's nowhere near as good as Mandy, but I still really enjoyed it. And if you're into fucked up horror movies, I think this was a fun one.
So I was literally pulling up to buy it right now because I'm I've been wanting to see this movie.
Oh, dude.
But I don't know. But if it's because Mandy, I respected more than I actually liked.
I get it.
It's one of those films. I feel like it's one of those movies, and this is my favorite type of art, and I've said this numerous times to you. If you hate it and think it's the worst movie ever, totally valid. If it's your favorite movie of all time, totally valid. Yeah. And I love stuff like that, even though I tended to fall a little more on the I didn't like it side.
Oh, dude, I can imagine, that's a movie you can't recommend to people. Who all's in the chat right now? There's 15 people in here. I guarantee you, if I was all right, everybody, go check out Mandy next week, at least 10 people would be what the fuck did you make me watch?
I agree. Yeah.
Cobra Kai never die, you guys. I see you in the chat. Cobra Kai is the fucking shit. I'm forcing my wife to watch it right now because I love it so much. This is actually the third time I've watched the series. I'm on season 2 again. Caleb, have you seen any of Cobra Kai?
No, my brother has been telling me about it. My younger brother, he says it's incredible.
I love it. You will not, though.
Well, he hated the original, which I love the original as a kid. I haven't seen it since I was. And he's like, this is really great. It's really good. So I don't know.
Guys, sound off in the comment section. Is Caleb going to like Cobra Kai? I thought Victoria was going to like it much more than she did, if I'm being honest. But she didn't grow up with Karate Kid, and you did. but I know how you are about fucking nostalgia porn, and it
Yeah, that
very
doesn't do it for
heavily
me.
leans into that.
So what's the attitude? Is it like serious drama? Is it camp? How is it
Yeah, it's a
portrayed?
good mix of all of that. It's very soapy, it's campy, and it's also got really good dramatic moments in it. It mixes it up pretty good. The fight scenes
Okay.
are a little bit like like when the Power Rangers fight at the school when they're not in the Power Ranger costumes.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking
That's
about?
not yeah, that's not a great selling
That's
point.
not the show though, but yeah, there's a little bit of that vibe to it.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's great. I agree with the chat. Let's see. Best move was to take it to Netflix, grabbing a whole new audience. Yeah, because it started on YouTube and nobody liked
Yeah,
it.
that's what I thought. It was a YouTube original, right?
Yeah, and I watched it on YouTube at first, but I couldn't name another YouTube original.
No, I don't know. I have no idea what's on YouTube original. I always just skip it when they ask me a free trial.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so Moonwalkers. This movie came out some time ago.
Like
It's
2015, I think.
it stars what's the kid's name? The redheaded kid, Rupert.
Ron Weasley.
Ron Weasley's the star of it. It's got Ron Perlman, Hellboy, in it. It's got the kid that plays number Klaus on Umbrella Academy, and some other people.
I didn't know that. I still didn't see Umbrella Academy. Yeah, so this was something I suggested because I've been dying to see this movie and just I need to force myself to watch movies or I don't do it. First of all, this is my type of movie. This is Guy Ritchie, but not as good as Guy Ritchie, but Guy Ritchie-esque cinema. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I can see it a little bit.
I'm talking like Lock, Stock, old Lock, Stock.
Point taken. There are British people in it. Go ahead.
No, it's like the style over substance thing. Nowhere near as good as a Guy Ritchie film, but this is kind of like how I am with like kung fu films, where the bar is real low. If you just have enough of a quirky attitude, I'm kind of all in.
So, did you like it?
I loved it.
I liked it. I kind of liked it.
No, I like 8 out of 10. Loved it.
Oh, fuck off. I mean, I really like what it was about. I do. I think it's a cool ass story. So for those of you guys that are not familiar, or for those of you that actually did watch it, it takes place at the same time as the space race. What the whole thing is that the U.S. government wants to hire a Vietnam veteran played by Ron Perlman to outsource and go to Stanley Kubrick and pay him enough money to stage the moon landing.
Which is already, isn't this a conspiracy that people really believe that Kubrick helped with fake the moon landing?
100%. And I love the way they subvert that, but we won't get directly into spoilers. But he goes over to the UK and somehow he ends up in the office of a movie producer in a case of mistaken identity because there's another person in the office. The guy sells him on the idea that he is the manager for Stanley Kubrick or the agent for Stanley Kubrick, and that Kubrick's going to film this movie for him. Lo and behold, it's not.
It's pretty much like a series of unfortunate events type of thing where it's like Be Cool. I put it in the same genre of like Be Cool, early Guy Ritchie, those style over substance, kind of quirky attitude sort of film. It's not great, but Ron Perlman is excellent in it.
He is.
It's pretty much a midnight movie. That's what it is. It's like a grindhousey midnight movie sort of thing.
To me, it definitely had a Coen Brothers vibe to it. What you're saying, it's almost a comedy of errors where it's always an escalation. Like if they would have got out at this point, it wouldn't have gone to there, and then it's kind of building up. Or similarly, in True Romance, you've got all of the mob that's coming after them, and then there's all of the police officers, and they all converge in the one place at the very last scene. There's the big shootout kind of thing. I think the comedy worked really well in this, and I actually really like Rupert Grant, who I believe is Ron Weasley. I think he was very good in it.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I thought him and Ron Perlman were really good. The supporting cast I thought was lacking. You know, those two really carried the film for me, but that is the majority of the film anyway. And then it does the typical thing, like, yeah, true romance. Um, what was the one that just came out recently about the motel, with Thor in it, with Chris Hemsworth? It's that sort of
Hotel
thing.
with
Yeah,
Thor
if they
in
would
it.
have got out at this point in time, they would have been fine. It continues to escalate into just a full blown shit show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I liked it, man. I'm being critical of it because it felt to me like something that I would have heard about before now, because everything about it hits the beats. I love Stanley Kubrick. I love all of the space race kind of stuff. And I actually really liked where the movie ended. I'm telling you, man, there was something really off-putting about the violence in it.
Really? That was like my favorite part of it.
It fucking threw me off, bro. And I love Quentin Tarantino. I love a lot of
Oh,
really violent stuff, but even Guy Ritchie does not fucking push it that far. Like, they were blowing motherfuckers' heads in half, dude.
half. So that was one of, you'd actually touched on something that was one of my favorite aspects of the film, was how ridiculously violent it was up against the comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I
Okay.
loved it.
It worked for you.
It totally worked for me, to where it gave me a grindhouse sort of vibe, like with those, like, people's heads getting blown off, ridiculous amount of nudity, drug use, all of that. It felt like a fever dream of a film made in that era. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I
Like,
like
it
that.
seemed like something that could have been made in that movie that time, but obviously doesn't feel like it was from that time at all, which I really enjoyed. They even had a montage that I enjoyed. I'm like, I hate montages. And I was like, this montage works for me.
I liked the hallucination scene. I like that kind of flop house where the filmmaker was at. I also really like when they found the filmmaker, the movie that he had made that took him like 3 or 5 years to
Yes,
film.
the trampoline.
Yes, Patrick Stewart, very good call. He just now said, "Are we talking about Bad Times at the El Royale?"
Yes,
To rewind
thank
a
you.
minute ago. Yeah, good call, man. Good call.
Yeah, I like that movie. I love that movie too, and
I
everyone's
do
had
too.
problems with it.
I
I
do too.
loved it.
I thought that
And
one was good.
to me, this is one of those things I always tell people, I'm like, take my opinion with these type of films with a grain of salt, because I love them. You know, like Get Shorty, all those, I love them.
A couple minutes ago, Mark McKeever said he watched it, which thank you very much for checking it out.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy that you did. Hopefully we can kind of continue to build momentum on this. He said it had great visuals in Moonwalkers, and I agree. I think there's a lot of the kind of hippies era psychedelic stuff going on, and the recreation of the set was awesome.
Great. My favorite line was where they made where they talked about 2001: A Space Odyssey, and they go, "Have you seen it?" They're like, "Bad movie, looks great," or whatever they said. Loved it. It was because that's how I feel about that movie. They're like, "Looks great." It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're like, tell us what it's about, something like that. Somebody's like, we have no idea what the hell the thing is about, but it's good looking.
But it looks great.
Yeah.
That was like literally that line alone. I was like, I'm in, and that's pretty early on in the movie. I'm like, I'm so in.
Dude, there's another series that Nick Frost from Edgar Wright's Coronado trilogy is in with Rupert Grant. I keep saying Rupert Grant like that's his name. I feel like it is.
That is his name.
Grint. Excuse me. A very British name, Rupert Grint.
Oh, Sick Note. I actually wanted to see this.
Sick Note.
Where is this the one where he thinks he has cancer and then just finds out he doesn't?
Yes.
So I was so pumped about this series, and then I was diagnosed with
then
cancer.
You got
like,
cancer.
Right as it came out. So like it literally came out when I got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh,
so
shit.
I actually putting this back in my Netflix. I'm totally gonna watch it now.
Caleb's cancer is in remission for those of you guys wondering why I'm laughing at him.
And if you can't laugh at it, I mean,
oh shit.
No, but that was a show I was super pumped on. That literally, like, I saw the trailer, and then like 2 days later, I got diagnosed. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I can't watch this now. I'm not in that headspace."
No, definitely
laugh.
not. It's kind of the same situation with the coronavirus pandemic thing. It's like it's all fantasy and escapism until you're like, "Oh my god, I'm living this now."
Yeah, then you're like, "This doesn't seem fun." So would you recommend Moonwalkers to people, or would it have to be varied depending on the person?
I feel like I would recommend it to people who like, man, I don't know. I feel like I would give it a soft recommendation if you watched it like we did on Netflix.
This is one I would personally buy. Like I love this movie.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad. Victoria liked it, which she doesn't always keep up with whatever I'm watching and stuff. We got a little bit different taste, and she enjoyed it. I think she got a really big kick out of just the over-the-top nature of whatever the actor's name is. I couldn't tell you, but Rupert Grint's best friend, he's really good in it.
With his horrible fake beard in the movie.
Yeah,
this is the worst fake beard.
And then the band was super fun. Yeah, dude, there were good parts in it. Maybe I was being too critical on it because I had to wake up. It felt like fucking homework, dude. I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and watch that shit.
It's kind of like how I was telling you when I got like with the Marvel movies. Like I personally don't really watch them. They kind of just exist over there. But when I was doing my own movie reviews and people are like, you have to watch it. So I go see everyone every day.
Begrudgingly.
Like, at opening day. And it makes it feel like homework. And you're so much more critical than had you just been like, I watched it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If I would have stumbled across it, I probably would have been a little bit more, generous, because if I'm being honest, it didn't put me out at all. Like I was just hanging out at the house watching it. It was enjoyable. It's not like I was bored or turned it off or anything. Similarly, though, Old Guard is a movie that like I watched. I thought it was fine. I heard a bunch of other people raving about it. And then I'm like, really, dude? Like, well, we're only raving about this because we didn't have to pay for it. Because if we would have paid for it, I think we would have been more critical of it.
So it's Bird Box, essentially?
Yeah. Yes.
When everyone was freaking out about this, I'm like, is you freaking out about it because it was just on your TV? You know, I'm like, they literally did it last year or a couple of months before called Quiet Place. And it was 10 times better.
Dude, that is so accurate. 100% agree with you there. Tyler said he's had Moonwalkers on his Netflix queue for a long time, but he went on vacation. So he should check it out, huh?
Yeah, I think if you already have any sort of interest in it, if the cover, the trailer interests you like it did me, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk my statement back. I'm gonna say soft recommend. It's definitely a enjoyable caper kind of movie. There's some really great elements of it. I'm not somebody put off by violence. There was just something about the tones where I was like, oh fuck, it just got really real, really fast.
So the scene, I know the scene, but the scene where it turns from a dumb comedy to really violent, I literally like perked up and I was like, okay, I love this movie.
Are we talking about where he's using the matchsticks or whatever to build the replicas of the... Yes. Okay, yeah. Holy fuck.
Right before. That's when I was like, okay, I love this movie. That was my moment where I was like, this, and that whole scene, I'm like, okay, I'm in. I don't care how this movie ends. I'm sold.
Tyler did see Bill and Ted, though, and he says now that he's back home gearing up to see New Mutants at the drive-in, he says Bill and Ted's worth a watch. I just wanted a little more out of it, but it has plenty of good. What's your temp on that?
On Bill and Ted?
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it.
Did you see the other two?
Loved them as a kid. The second one's the one with death, right?
Yes.
That was the one I loved as a kid.
Me
I didn't
too.
like the first, don't even remember it.
I prefer Bogus Journey with you. That's the second one.
Yeah, that was the one I always loved as a kid. I'm sure it seems very different now that I know like the context of the jokes if I went back.
Yeah, to me, like, I got a lot of goodwill towards Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves, but Bill and Ted isn't the reason why I have so much admiration for those guys. Like, I love Lost Boys, for example, and Alex Winters is one of the Lost Boys in it. He also became a director, and he's done some good stuff over the years, and then Keanu Reeves is like, he's the fucking man. Everything he does is great.
I'm actually kind of shocked Keanu Reeves came back to it, because I feel like most of Keanu Reeves' character was trying to prove that he wasn't the character from Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Like, that was his career.
Yeah.
Like, that's who everyone thought he was. Like, he's like, well, that's that character, bro. That's not him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, then you see him in Bram Stoker's Dracula, and he's like,
Yeah, very true. I just got bitten.
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right, what else? I guess that's all we have on the docket.
We gotta find something for next week, a movie.
Oh, we're gonna do this on the fly now.
Well, I mean, we did it last time on the fly.
Yeah, but then you picked it out. Hold up.
Well, I mean, yeah, you pick something out.
Man, I'm not good at stuff. All right, well, I guess while we're looking, went out like Boba Fett. Patrick Stewart said Lost Boys. Alex Winters went out like Boba Fett. That's hilarious.
That's great.
While we are kind of pulling up the streaming catalog, you guys let us know if you have any questions, anything that popped up.
A recommendation of something that we should watch.
For sure.
Someone recommended The Platform last time, I think.
Let's do that.
Want to do The Platform?
Yes, I do. I actually wanted to watch The Platform.
Yeah, because I just saw that it's in my queue too, and so
it is.
Yep.
Okay, I've been meaning to get around to that one also. This is kind of more like my go-to wheelhouse. Like, oh, some really grim, low-budget science fiction movie that's got horror elements to it. Sounds like my shit.
I literally have no idea what it's even about. I just saw it, the cover, and I'm like, oh, I'm interested. Not seen a trailer or anything, so I'm excited.
Let's see what it's about. I'm gonna just pull up the synopsis. Just gonna pull up all the spoilers on Wikipedia.
So here, I have it on Netflix.
Okay.
A slab of food descends floor by floor in a prison. The inmates above eat heartily, leaving those below starving and desperate. A rebellion is imminent.
Oh, like your other favorite movie, Snowpiercer.
I would say this sounds real dumb.
Bro, it's an allegory. Don't you understand allegories?
Yeah, okay, I get it. The rich people at the top, I get it. Okay. Real groundbreaking stuff.
Shut up, man. It's science fiction. What? Come on,
we can't be as bad as Snowpiercer though, so we're good.
I love that movie.
They made a TV show, didn't they?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it though. Did you?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything about it until you said that.
Me either.
We got to watch the Snowpiercer series for next week, Caleb. No, I'm just kidding.
The whole series? We watch one episode.
Oh, fuck, man. Snowpiercer series. See if we got any questions coming through. I really do appreciate the super chat earlier, King of the Hills. You know, I wanted to talk about something. I know this is probably a little inside baseball, maybe not the right venue for it, but I worked at Subway on Pensacola Beach, and I've waited tables and bar and all of that kind of stuff over the years. And I've learned something, and I think it's fascinating. It's like the motherfuckers who struggle the worst, nobody wants to help that person out. It's like if you're covered in a pile of money, people want to throw more money on top of you. Just a little observation I made. It's very, very real. I don't know what that's about, but it is. It's an interesting thing, and it's a psychology thing, 100%. I can't speak to why it is, but it's almost like you prime people up to like build an expectation that like this is what you're supposed to do. I don't know, man. It's fine, but I say that because right now I'm not working. Well, I'm working from home. I want to like just kind of transition out of that, but still got a long ways to go. But that's all right. I'm totally interrupting you. No, please do. With your spiel. Please do. Did you know that coming September 18th to Netflix, there's a Jurassic World TV show? Animated? Yeah. No, I had no idea. By DreamWorks and Amblin Entertainment. No, dude. How did we not know this? Jurassic. When's it coming out? Soon. September 18th. Holy shit, dude. Like 2 weeks away. There's also a Dragon's Dogma for my gamers show coming out. What is that? I missed. Dragon's Dogma is a pretty good RPG. I think it's awesome. It's not the best ever, but yeah, like shocked that I haven't heard about either of these. So Camp Cretaceous, I'm looking at the concept render, I guess, of almost the promotional image, and it's a bunch of tweens standing at the entrance of Jurassic Park. It's a nice art style. I mean, it does look like it's going to be geared towards a slightly younger audience, but I've never cared about that, and I actually love How to Train Your Dragon and several other DreamWorks things, so I am shocked that I hadn't even heard this was coming out. Me either. How to Train Your Dragon is excellent. Yeah, I'm shocked. Thank you very much, King of the Hills 34. I appreciate you. Always appreciate you. And it's just I get in my head sometimes. Definitely not directed to you guys. Y'all kick ass for coming by and checking this out. Sometimes you get in your head? I stay in my head.
So that was like the understatement of the century right there.
Me and Caleb were talking like on Sunday, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do
I thought this
this.
guy was about to blow his brains out on Sunday. I was about to go over and send him suicide hotline.
It gets hard, bro. It fucking gets hard, dude. I've been doing this shit for so long. Oh my
Nah, I
god.
feel you, man. I've been doing this forever. And literally my personal YouTube channel is just like closed. There's like one video about weight loss on there that still gets plays every once in a while.
Patrick, you just now heard it, or you will hear it here momentarily. There is no link to. I mean, we can link you to Caleb's channel. Absolutely, it hasn't been active in a long time, but he's got some really good shit over there.
There's no reason to link there. I mean, this is where I am now.
Disagreed. There's still some good shit over there, but it's just from a couple years ago. That's the only thing. I mean, if I get 5 minutes looking at Caleb's sweet face, I'm good. I watch that shit on mute half the time.
Yeah, that's what your window that was up was. It was me faked onto someone.
Oh shit, man. Let's see. Tyler Adams been meaning to watch The Ritual on Netflix. That movie is badass, dude.
That movie is incredible.
So fucking
highly recommend watching.
Yeah. If that's not a ringing endorsement, we don't even learn anything else about it. Just watch it.
Yeah, don't want to say anything else. Loved it.
Thank you, King of the Hills, again. You're awesome. I really appreciate that. And he says you're covered in money, no more tips. That's accurate. That's the whole thing. I don't understand it. Let's see. Mark said, any interest in Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe animated coming to Netflix? Mark Hamill as the voice of Skeletor.
Well, okay, so Kevin Smith's making a Masters of the Universe thing?
Yeah, man.
All in now. They're totally in.
Yeah, I Masters of the Universe is another one of those properties that's been in development forever. People have always wanted to make a good Masters of the Universe, and it's just hard to do, I think.
Speaking of that, if you guys have Hulu, the Thundercats remake, not the Thundercats whatever one, the new one, but there was one in 2011 that was kind of drawn like anime that no one watched. That's excellent. It's on Hulu.
I gotta check that out. I didn't even know it existed either.
No one knows it existed. It was like 2 seasons or 1 season, really, really good, and then just never went anywhere.
I wonder if Kevin Smith is the guy for the job with Masters of the Universe. I always feel like there's this very up its own butt sense of humor in all Kevin Smith stuff.
So it's weird. I got super excited for it. I don't really like much Kevin Smith does. I just love Kevin Smith. Like as a podcaster, as him, I just love Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I am a big fan of him as well. And you always root for the guy. And I actually am a big fan of most of his View Askew shit at first. I know you like Tusk a lot more than I do.
I like Tusk and I liked Red State a lot.
I see what they were doing, Red State. I kind of liked it. The ending is very nihilistic, but also still kind of like Kevin Smithy, like John Goodman's character. I don't know. I liked it all right. I didn't care for Tusk, and then what was the third one? Fucking Yoga Hosers, dude.
Oh, I couldn't watch Yoga Hosers.
The Bratzies, dude, they're just all so up their own ass. It's almost like he's trying to prove a point of how shitty the movies that he can make are. You know what I mean?
I agree. Honestly, my favorite thing he's ever done is the show Comic Book Man, which is probably the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah, no doubt. I like him. Chasing Amy, probably my favorite, followed by Mallrats, and then Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
See, I don't like any of those. Clerks, none of them.
What?
Yeah, just don't do it for me.
Patrick, if you want to retract that last comment, it's not too late. Patrick Stewart says, Jeremy, Caleb probably the best guest I have ever seen on your show. Keep on bringing him back.
Ooh.
And
yeah, so
I am off on Thursday nights.
I think it's because we've been doing this for 2 years now? Has it been 2 years?
Yeah, all the time.
The other show.
All the time. Yeah, King of the Hills 34 is correct. I don't know if I do. Now I feel obligated to actually bring your ass back, which, if I'm being honest.
You started.
All right, man. Well, this has been fun.
What movie are we watching again? Because we rambled.
The platform. Now that you've effectively shat all over it, yeah.
Okay.
Shitting on poor people again, Caleb. Classic Caleb.
Oh, no. I should come back in my red hat next time.
Oh my God, dude. I'm just so glad that those browser windows didn't show up.
After we're off, I need to know what the hell this was.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all very much for stopping by to check out this episode of the Movies Are Terrible live stream podcast. It means a lot. I see those of you who stopped by to check it out, and I really do appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for comments that you want to see covered on next week's show, make sure to leave those down in the comments section or in the live chat, and we will try to get to them if possible. Also, if you have any suggestions for movies that you want to see us check out on this movie book club thing that we're doing, let us know. We will take a look at them and try to come up with things that we can all enjoy together. Again, we're watching The Platform on Netflix. If you want to participate, try that again. If you want to participate in next week's conversation, make sure that I talk for a living. If you want to check out and be a part of the conversation next week, check out The Platform on Netflix. And I guess I got to bail at this point, man. Thank you for coming by, Caleb. This was a lot of fun.
All right, man. I'll see you all next week for more movies.
Be terrible.